Hey kids, it's Arp. This is the ArpCast, somewhat live from the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains in eastern Tennessee. Today we talk about different things, weird people, and maybe unicorns and rainbows. We read poetry and short stories too. Most of all, we keep it real. This is the ArpCast, starting now. ArpCast number 11 here and now, November 6, 2017. It's good to be back on the airwaves after a lovely weekend. So my brother was up with my parents this weekend, and it had been a while since I'd seen him. I saw him back in the spring when we went to St. Louis to Washington University with my lovely daughter. And so it's always good to see him. He's a great kid. And he still is very much a kid to me. We're like 12 and a half years apart, and I posted something on Instagram earlier today or yesterday, I can't remember, and I was talking about my babies. And so my kid brother was my first child, and then obviously I had my lovely daughter Roshni. So I didn't have her, my wife had her, but we raised her and stuff together, not in the wild or anything. So it was good to have him up here, and there's always a little bit of sibling rivalry amongst the best of siblings. And so just a few comments. We have it, but it's kind of interesting. It's typically over, sort of bad jokes or movie lines, which if any of you know me and probably know my brother, that's a constant refrain. Bad movie lines, typically from the 80s. Sorry, Colin. I know that you missed the 80s. Or, sort of trivial political matters. Quote, Melania looks festive and floral. End quote, no, she still looks better in plaid. Those kinds of things. Or, which anesthetic is better during a wisdom teeth surgery. So, what I guess want to say, and what I don't understand is I've seen different circumstances where folks, siblings or close friends, for those of you that don't have siblings, they don't get along, or they find some reason to pull apart, and that's just a grievous error, I think. So many of us, very independent, sound body, sound mind, that sort of thing. It's all good, but it's always, I think, an added benefit to have that individual in your life that brings so much happiness, joy, antagonism, worry, concern, difference of opinion. I still believe choosing that person or those persons and having them in your life is a net benefit. Not always the case. I mean, there's certainly extenuating circumstances, but I really hope that if you are struggling, and don't wait for the holidays or something corny like that, just, make amends and be the bigger sibling, even if you're not. So, again, good to see my brother, good to see my parents. It was a good day here on Monday in the Trivedi household. And so I thought I would close with a little bit of my brother's poetry. He's been at this creative writing thing for a very, very long time. I'm very jealous of him if he doesn't know. He has my life. I don't have his, so there's no trading that's possible, which is a shame, a darn shame. But he has sort of brilliantly put together this career. Look, poetry, art is an acquired taste for anyone, generally speaking, and then individual artists is a whole nother level of sort of due diligence and seeking out that which draws you in, that which makes you happy. So you're not going to like everything. And that's certainly par for the course. But I found something, actually doing some research on my brother. We've moved recently, so I put away his book, and I couldn't find his master's thesis. But I did find 6 lovely poems that appeared on the Kenyon Review Online in the winter of 2015. And I'm just going to read these and let them kind of rest on your brain and let you kind of take it in. So here are 6 poems by Amish Trivedi, Kenyon Review, winter 2015, KR Online. So that's kenyonreview.org. Kenyon is Kenyon. 6 poems. America. One more nightmare and I'm out. I seem to remember you dancing while holding your arm bent back and tensing. Another dream of child rearing and another about falling down into the gravel and being picked up only to be dropped again. I've said this before, and I've said it before. Ownership. Sometimes the revolution starts in the yard, but ends in the main house. What wasn't tied down floated back out into the middle of the sea and is a possession gained. If we're counting again, please consider my placement of your fingers in the first derangement. The other parts of ammunition are made of words, and we know how to fire them at each other. Evolution. Once language goes beyond understanding what we see, we can create new things based on words we want to use. Our brains grew stronger because we figured out how to boil water, and language came from complex carbohydrates. If there were a limit to things going wrong, we'd have to learn new math. If we were to believe all words we hear, we're likely to forget what we knew before our language came to take us over. Number 9. Your relationship to language has melted down around your ankles, and your toes are soaking in words you've built up. Too much time wasted in front of news that seems to echo only the worst things of our time. We were made for revolution, true, but we have to step back at times. When the riot comes, they'll find you anywhere you are or are not, so don't be anywhere at all. Travel. I always required motion to keep sleep away from me, though now I regret having missed so much of it. Regret is part of an average life, no doubt, but I seem to have more than most. I should have never lifted my fingers to your skin or seen the inside of your mouth lit up. What we had was a momentary escape to eyes, but should never have been a practiced, played series. Dying. This is the last building I'll see and the last words I'll read, but I'm never as far from them as I imagine. We used to sit away from it all and pretend that silence was what held us, but now the empty space seems more meaningful than your words ever did. Let me step beyond and see a new design of my choosing. As if made-up sounds had some bearing, I squeak to say my name now because it has no meaning that I can defend. My words are yours now, and I have no tones to borrow from and call my own. All I have left is a glance that no one sees and a sigh which fits in my chest tightly. 6 poems. Amish Trivedi on the Kenyon Review Online. KenyanReview.org from winter of 2015. So it's been a while, but it's good stuff. And again, from a bright young man, and not just because he's my brother, but I mean, it helps, or maybe it doesn't. So this has been a podcast at the beginning of November 2017, number 11. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will be back on Wednesday night for yet another fascinating journey into what is certainly not a very fascinating mind, but here we go. Hey, thanks everyone. Have a great Tuesday. Well, kids, you know who this is. It's ARP, damn it. You have been listening to the ArpCast, a sensational, fact-filled experience meant to change the world. I'm happy you stopped by. Our sponsors, those greedy, wily bastards, thank you too. Make sure to write. This has been the ArpCast. I'm out.